This is 99.3 Nigeria Info, and you're listening to the Morning Crossfire on Dailies today. You're welcome to the show. My name is Wemimo Adewuni, and it's time to look at the papers and what they're saying today. We have here the Punch, and we'll be taking your comments on the matter on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3, also on YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3, and on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. Use the hashtag Nigeria Info MCF. Give me a minute. All right, apologies about that. We're back. My name is Wemimo Adewuni. I'm here with Jimi Disu.
Testing. Okay, so
transmission.
We had a bit of a hitch.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
I'm sure those people watching on Facebook are like, what's this guy doing?
What's going on?
Yeah. Never mind. Had to fix that thing. But
Yes. Morning, Wemimo. How
Good morning. I'm great. Yeah. As great as I can be. Yeah. The Punch newspaper today.
Mm-hmm.
Boko Haram insurgency, retired generals, NEF, others warn against hiring mercenaries.
Well, yeah, that's the opinion. The truth, truth be told, even without being a military expert, just looking at how far we've come and the issues that have arisen since then, I think the issues that involve and not being able to put Boko Haram where they actually do belong has to do with a lot of self-inflicted injuries, which are quite obvious to anybody. Compromises, corrupt practices, bad practices. We've not done the needful. Complaints galore from within and without. The president's insistence on maintaining the same security architecture for so long, which at the very least would affect the morale of the officers below those ranks. Because if you don't move certain people up, other people can't follow, and therefore it would affect their morale. Maybe also there's a bit of expertise and also international sabotage. Some of the people you run to as friends in reality are your enemies, and I think I've said enough of that for people to understand what I mean in such instances. But there's some security experts believe that Nigeria needs foreign partners to defeat the insurgents. Maybe not, but what I do know is that we need to tidy up internally. Even if you do have foreign partners, if you haven't tidied up internally, put the right pegs in the right
Holes.
pegs in the right holes, and buy the most modern equipment, and the morale of the
very important.
That's very, very important. If you don't do all these things, these arguments are just window dressing. And we've been having this discussion now for only God knows how many years on what to do and what not to do. I don't see anything wrong in mercenaries if you're going to get a mercenary group to help sort this thing out. Of course, the military guys have their reservations. In anything you do in this world, you have reservations. But if you do get it right,
you weigh the pros and the cons and see which is.
And try to. I don't think we should throw away the baby with the bathwater because of the some of the fears expressed. Then you then say you cannot bring in foreign expertise. All said and done, my conclusion is that we've been paying lip service to the issue of Boko Haram, and definitely some people are benefiting from all this.
It appears so. We're still talking insecurity. Another story from the Punch today. Buhari to honor Rep's invitation, says Gbajabiamila. And I played a clip during the news at 6 today where he says that the president is a Democrat, so he will attend to them and he'll give them a date because he's got a busy schedule.
For one second, I thought it was the president's spokesperson that was speaking. Even that kind of thing coming from the president's spokesperson would have been an overkill. The House of Reps Speaker said twice, he's a Democrat. The president is not on trial. Okay? And as far as I'm concerned, this is just a PR exercise. I ask myself, okay, so if he goes to the House of Reps, what is he going to tell them? What are they going to tell him? Do they have the kind of expertise? Do they have the kind of expertise that would help him? I think that essentially we are all paying lip service because most people cannot say the truth, and the truth is that there is something wrong with our leadership. There's no point, there's no point trying to make a fuss out of nothing.
Well, we can argue.
The leadership of this country has to be tinkered with somehow. I don't mean remove the personnel. I'm not saying that. I'm not asking for removal or impeachment or anything. But something needs to be done. And the most polite way is to say it has to be tinkered with at the top. The thinking of those who are responsible, because it appears as if, of course, it wouldn't just be the president. Thinking, that we can continue governing ourselves this way. Doesn't add up to me.
It's worrisome. But the
it's
song would
very
say,
worrisome.
if you listen to the plenary where the lawmakers, particularly those from Bono, it was a very heated conversation. So I would assume that they want the president to show up so they can pass on the grievances of the people and maybe keep him on his toes.
Listen, you don't need the president to. Let's stop being unduly polite and tell ourselves some home truth. The president has security reports.
Yeah.
Regular. He gets security reports, I would assume. He gets security reports 7 a.m. every day and knows the situation. In fact, the president ideally would know more than the same Bono lawmakers that you're talking about, or should know more than they know.
But it's usually said, many people say that it's possible that the president is being shielded from reality. I've had people say that maybe he doesn't really understand what's going on. So the lawmakers can maybe.
When you say he's being shielded how? I mean, I don't understand some of these things. I'm sorry. I don't get it. Is there something wrong somewhere? Should we be taking a second look at what Obi Ezekwesili is talking about? We need to ask ourselves some home truths. Well, this idea, all this is just a PR exercise. And like I said, we are too ceremonial in the things that we do.
Unfortunately.
So what then happens? He comes there, the Bono lawmakers, they put up some whatever, and then he replies them, and nothing comes out of it. Every public person who has had the opportunity has said that you need to change, even if it's just for the morale.
Yeah.
You need to change your services. You have refused to do so. And so I don't understand. Well, and from the tone of the speech of the speaker, I'm sorry to say, from the tone of his speech, that strengthens my mind that all this thing is, or what this invitation and whatever, is just to be seen to be doing something.
And that would be most unfortunate.
It is just, as far as I'm concerned.
That would be, we're talking about lives of Nigerians being lost. I mean, an assistant commissioner of police was killed in Cross River. It was in the news today. Now it's everywhere. It's insecure. This is a big issue.
But Wemimo, we need to ask ourselves a very pertinent question: what is the life of an average Nigerian worth to us as a people and to those who lead us? Nothing.
Sad.
Even to us Nigerians as a people, nothing. We don't even value our own lives. So we cannot give what we don't have. And our leaders come from amongst us. Even we as a people do not value, we don't put a premium on the value of a Nigerian life. It's just seen as another casualty, another number.
Statistics.
Yes.
That's numbers. That's pretty sad, I must say. Well, let's say hello to all the about 200 people watching us live right now on Facebook. You can join them and also leave us your comment as the conversation progresses. We're also live on YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3. You can also leave us your thoughts on Twitter using the hashtag Nigeria Info MCF. Right there. I'll take your comments in a minute. Let's take this news from the Vanguard today. COVID-19, UK becomes first country to approve Pfizer's vaccine. First shot to be rolled out next week as the IOM, British government, donates PPE to Nigeria. We need the vaccines too. Question is, will it go around about 200 million Nigerians?
No, that's not the question. The question is, has Nigeria all along we knew Pfizer? Okay, we're trying to develop a vaccine and I think some other pharmaceutical company. Have we interacted with them? Are we in line at all? Are we on the queue?
I don't want to imagine that we're not.
Remember that everybody thought that the United States would be the first.
Yes.
Okay, but the UK beat them to it. That is a country that knows what it's doing, knows what it wants. What are we doing? What have we done? Have we contacted Pfizer? Have representatives in Nigeria here? Have we contacted them? Are we in line? If have we had any discussion even with our own people? Because this discussion is going around the world. They're being told that, okay, a vaccine is coming, it's going to be approved any minute from now. Has Nigeria approved the vaccine? Have we seen it? Do we have a sample? Have we had discussions? None to my knowledge. But for the past almost 6 weeks, every day between CNN and Sky News, it's been all about vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. Rather, in Nigeria, it's all about don't go out of the country. If you come back, you could be shut out. You could close down. We could do this. It goes back to what I said earlier. What is the value of it? A health minister who knows his worth by now, a government that puts a premium on the life of its people by now, would have had a program in place to say that as soon as the approval comes, we have locked down this number, and these are the people who are going to be given priority in the first instance. We have not done that.
We haven't.
Both at state and federal level.
And I'm jotting this down because I intend to then reach out to the Ministry of Health on this. I mean,
Yes.
this is a genuine...
If they are doing that and we don't know about it, it's even worse.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying? It's even worse. It means that we always have this knee-jerk approach. What is going to happen is this. The UK is going to be the first to approve it. Once they do it, our elite are going to hop on a plane, go
Go
get
to the
themselves
UK
vaccinated.
and go get a shot.
But
in
to
the UK.
help them, I'm trying to see, and I need some help, to see if I can get a specialist to come on Saturday to this station to tell us whether it is actually even advisable to take a vaccine under these kind of circumstances and the inherent dangers that might be. We need to be educated.
We do. We need to understand everything about
We need
this
to
vaccine.
understand. I'm not saying don't take. That's not what I'm saying. But given the circumstances, we just need to be enlightened. And I'd like anybody out there who can reach out to us, can get me a specialist who can walk into the studio on Saturday and guide us through this. In the meantime, somebody should put a call through to Governor Sanwo-Olu and a call through to the Minister of Health and ask them specifically, are you in line?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we should even try and see if we can call the Commissioner for Information in Lagos State, because this is our own constituency here. Charity starts
Begins at home.
Begins at home. And see.
I'm sure I'd like to look at it. Once I leave the studio today, that's my report I'm going to work on.
But what I'm saying is that
It's,
even if we did have, we don't see any action plan that talks about it. We saw some news about COVID yesterday. There are briefings every day. Nobody has told us anything about the vaccine.
PTF.
Or are we going to buy the vaccine from the black market?
Oh my God.
And you know, Nigeria, we need to be very, very careful. The best place for me, I would rather go with reputable international companies.
Yeah.
I'd rather not. Please beg them again. You know the way we do our things. They will go somewhere for their own vaccine and then bind us to the Philistines by bringing us some second-rate vaccine from only God knows where. Because what I suspect is that by February there might be a floodgate of vaccines from India, from China, from this and that. For God's sake, for the first time, let's make an example. Let Nigerians go for the premium.
Amen to that. Amen. Amen. I'll be here. Now here we go there. The Nation newspaper today, activists warn against planned protests, and this is they're under the aegis of the Association of National Development and Growth, and they've threatened to resist the planned second phase of the #EndSARS protests on the ground that it is a looming disaster.
Well, I want to choose my words carefully, and I please like people to listeners to concentrate on what I want to say. I have nothing against a protest. What my worry is that I'm very, very worried about the protest that will drag people out into the streets one more time, and what it would achieve and where it might end. So I hope people can listen carefully before you start tweeting. Take your finger off that tweet button and listen again. I have nothing against protests, okay? I believe that there are many forms of protesting or whatever it is that you can adopt without actually hitting the streets. It just takes imagination and deep thinking. There are many forms, many forms. We have seen that you cannot go down the path that you did with the Lekki whatever. It's going to end up in a massacre and a disaster.
Would it?
If you tried that Lekki thing again.
But now that we've had multiple judicial panels asking questions from the army, you think we can have a
no, when I say a massacre, I didn't say the army was going to shoot anybody. But look at the kind of weapons that are in the hands of people who are not authorized to carry such weapons.
From the aftermath of the protest.
From the aftermath
looting
of the protest.
police stations.
Looting police stations, arms. That's why
uniforms.
I said it would be a massacre and a disaster. So if there's any group that is planning that kind of protest, I'm going to ask them that take a retreat, think again. There are other ways by which you can protest rather than hitting the streets like we did the last time. It will end up in a massacre and a complete disaster.
The thing I would have said, I mean, my thought is to say, since we expect that these hoodlums or thugs who have access to arms might want to make use of them if there is a protest, isn't it then the job of the police to ensure that protesters are kept safe and citizens who are not even joining the protest?
Which police?
So that is it.
Hasn't it occurred to you that the police are on some kind of walk to rule? Ask those who have been victims, they will tell you. The police are out there, but they're on some kind of walk to rule. And I don't blame them. I'm not encouraging them to go walk to rule, but I don't blame them. After making the answers, after the issues coming for better policing and so on and so forth, what have you done? Have you paid their salaries on time? What is the welfare package that you have introduced to make their lives better? And don't forget, they haven't recovered from the various levels of condemnation they got from members of the public.
And some of the condemnations, they're sulking.
So the atmosphere is not right for another Lekki kind of protest. But there are other ways. There are other ways.
But a lot of Nigerians believe, and they are right, that they have a right to protest and that the security operatives have a duty to protect them while they protest. So they would not agree with you.
We always stretch this issue of rights sometimes to an embarrassing level. We always said it's like saying that you have a right to pee in front of my house every day because you're doing it on the road. Where some people's rights end, another set of it. If there is danger, if there is danger looming and the atmosphere is so tense and the security reports indicate that there could, it could lead to violence and so on and so forth. Do you think any government would allow that happen? Any responsible government? Let's be adults here.
Okay,
nobody has an absolute right. Nowhere in the world do you have an absolute right. But I also insist that there are other ways by which you can express yourself, even stronger than being physically present. So don't let's do what I would call mono thinking. Let's think deeply, and because at the end of the day, what do you want? Do you want to fulfill all righteousness, or do you want results?
Yeah. And I have an example, but time will not permit me. You're right. So there are different ways to do stuff. Something happened in the past 3 days that would make me agree with you.
All you need. You see, the truth is, one is those who want to get involved in things like this need to think deeply. That is one.
Maybe they don't know those options.
Why would you not know? If you don't know, then you're in the wrong business. Leave it to those who know.
Right.
That is not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Don't do things just to fulfill our righteousness or for ego problems, for ego reasons, just to boost your ego. No. There are other. Go read Indira Gandhi. Read what the South African struggle and see. Read even the black struggle. Go and read the works of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and so on and so forth. And look at the variance between the two things. Collectively, they were able to achieve. So it's not just by hitting the streets. Right. What even happens usually is hitting the streets always beclouds the main issues. Look at what we are talking about now. The main issues that the NSAS brought up has been clouded by the Lekki killings.
Unfortunately. Let me go and take some comments. YouTube is agog with comments. I'll start with this one from Latifa Foden, who says, I believe the president needs to address the nation as well, not just the House of Reps. It's almost unheard of for the president of a country not to address his people in times of crisis like this.
Look, don't let's
yes,
so don't let's beat it. You know this man won't address the nation, and even if he does, you get very little out of it. So why don't we look at something that is actually practical? What is practical for me is that somebody should lock up the president in a room and give him a first-class security architecture to work with, and that is it. And make sure that he follows the plan. If you get what I'm saying, all this asking him to address the nation, address what is going to be new in an address. It's like this meeting with the House of Reps. What is going to happen? There'll be a lot of huffing and puffing, people making positions here and there, and at the end of the day, what we want is that we want this war brought to an end.
And now,
it
needs to end now. People are being killed.
And we have the fortune, we are fortunate enough to have a retired and reputable former Major General as our president. So where then lies the problem?
Good question. Okpala for sure on Twitter says, our retired general have refused to show us the way forward to ending insecurity in Nigeria, but quick to respond whenever steps are taken. What is really happening in Nigeria? Desmond Obazu, good morning. Uncle Jimi, it has been shouting that there are other ways to protest without telling us how. He's told you to go read some books. Go read them.
Apart from that, if you want to, I'm not an activist. I'm sorry. I retired from that business a long time ago. I'm not an activist, but you need to broaden your mind. It's not for me to come and dictate a 21-point agenda as to how you should go about it. It's not, you understand? If you know you want to do these things, you need to do them properly.
Yeah. Real one here is saying, Uncle Jimmy, well done. At least the little jokes you're injecting is making things more interesting, because the news making the round is not just okay. It says Boko Haram would have been defeated when the authority make the right move. Akim on Twitter, has someone been thinking of how much funds the federal government has spent in prosecuting insurgency in the Northeast? Everything is paddy. It could jolly well mean that let's delay the insurgency so as to continue to feed big from federal coffers. That would be unfortunate. And SARS Ike Andy says Buhari should be constantly reminded that Commander-in-Chief is not just a title but a huge responsibility. I'm going to Facebook quickly, where Etu Muhammad says, your generation was subdued with fear. Ours was done in, you mean, with the same method. It says you're trying to scare the young ones. What is the work of the police? Who created the aftermath mess of the NSAS protests? Ola Shotinwa says, Mr. Disu, I don't agree with you. Oh, your comment is gone. Okay. Let me see. Nikki Wong says, Malcolm X and MLK were in an ideal society where human rights is strictly respected. Nigeria is a case on the other side of the river.
At the time Malcolm X was advocating what he was doing, there was human rights were being brought to question. And look, let's get real. Let's get real, and let's be intellectually lazy. Let us sit down and think deeply about other ways. Why do you want to go through the same old path that has achieved very little? Why not think outside the box?
John Iloma on Facebook says the government does not care about our security no, I don't know what you're talking about. Please don't give me a headache. Emmanuel Oviowe says, he's Emmanuel from Lekki. It's another round of colonization. We can get the cure here, Jare. Oh, you're talking about the vaccine. Says the West have succeeded in skewing the world into buying drugs from the West. Jimi mentioned one. Just one. Okay, the saying mentioned one way to protest. But he was referring to the vaccine, that we can get it locally here. Do you believe so?
Who said that?
That comment.
Good luck, man.
Good luck to that.
Let's get serious.
Okay, let's touch quickly before we go. We got just 1 minute. There's this commentary here in the Nation newspaper. Reckless driving. Lagos auctions 44 vehicles to check minutes.
Yeah, there's this, the Lagos State new rule that you forfeit your car to the government and so on and so forth. And therefore, the Nation is writing an editorial on the exercise that took place. And apparently at the auction, some cars, bidders were able to buy the cars and so on and so forth. I believe that if you want this exercise to set, because the exercise is not a fundraising thing for the government, I hope not. It is to set an example. I would advocate that you get a Rolls Royce going the wrong way, make sure the owner is there and crush the car. Yeah, by the time you do that, we will have sanity on our roads. This auction could be, it could bring about all kinds of corrupt practices. Again, people buying their cars through the back door and so on and so forth. And it won't serve as a warning, especially to our elite. But I strongly advocate, I wish we had a crushing plant and it makes the magistrate to make it mandatory for you to be there when your car is being crushed and film it and so that we will learn a lesson. Because there's something, I don't know why, even as of yesterday, I still saw one VIP car. It had platoon in front, platoon in back. The number plate was covered. That kind of madness, I don't know where it's coming from. If you don't want to have a number plate in your vehicle, so be it. If you want to break law, but you don't have it uncovered. These nasty things that are so-called privileged people, these nasty habits that they imbibe, we need to make an example out of it. And I wish, honest to God, if I was the governor, one Sunday morning, I go and lie in wait at certain areas and look out for the posh cars, leave all the damn photos, look out for 4 or 5. Once you make an example out of those that matter, everybody will sit up.
It would work.
It would work.
It would work. Not just the Danfos and the retired Toyota Camrys. All right.
Excuse me.
We need to go. The comments are pouring in. You continue the conversation while we wrap it up here. That's why the social media, we're there on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. Keep talking to us using the hashtag Nigeria Info MCF. Facebook, YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3. You can join us on those platforms also. That's it on Dailies today. Jimi Disu, thank you.
Thank you very much.
He's back again at 9 with Daily Digest, so you can also engage with him at 9 a.m. After the break and the news, I want to speak with people living with disability. If you're a person living with disability, today is a day to talk to you, because today is a day for persons living with disability. You want to tell me how you survived COVID-19 lockdown and how you're faring post-COVID. My name is Wemimo Adewuni. Thank you for listening.
For the best talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.